I'm talking about mm, mm, What's up, it's KT. If you guys are not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so right freaking now. So excuse the wrinkled shirt, but today I wanted to talk about masturbation before I go out, and I wanted to talk about how I have overcome masturbation and what kept me from overcoming it, what kept me relapsing for so long. If you're not convicted by it, that's your business. I'm talking to the people who are convicted heavily by masturbation and want to stop masturbating. The first thing to master when it comes to masturbation is self-control. Self-control is the last but not least fruit of the spirit listed in either Galatians, because it's so pivotal that you don't allow your body to control you and make you do whatever it feels that it wants or needs. It can be misconstrued as that, well, it's just my body and I have these sexual desires, what am I to do with them? Gain self-control. Things of the flesh are usually done in the dark. They usually manifest themselves in the dark. So if I'm watching porn, I'm usually going to watch porn in my room under the covers in the dark. If I'm masturbating, I'm going to do that in my room under the covers in the dark, or when no one's around. And when I feel like somebody is coming, I'm going to do it. I'm going to hide it really fast. So if there were not anything wrong with me masturbating, if there were nothing wrong with me watching porn, why is it that when people come, if we hear something, we get startled and we feel like we have to wrap it up and hide it? It's because it's sinful, and your conscience knows that it's sinful. How do I stop myself from masturbating? Is I need to clean my ear gates and I need to clean my eye gates out as well. I was listening to a lot of sexual music, a lot of secular music. I loved R&B, all the great artists that talk about nothing but sex, drugs, and booty. You need to clean your whole playlist out. You need to find a love for gospel music, find a love for worship music, find a love for Christian rap. I think it's imperative that once you begin to clean out your playlist, clean out your shows, all those sexual shows like The Game, the ones like Bridgerton, all that junk, the sexual shows. This is just for people who are sensitive sexually. If you find yourself in this pattern of masturbating, if you don't feel any conviction toward it, that's your business. But I'm giving you guys practical reasons or possible reasons that you may be still stuck in the pattern of masturbation. The next thing I realized that the enemy was doing was coming into my dreams. I would have sexual dreams, wake up and be like, oh, I had a weird dream, but it's totally fine, right? A few days would pass, or that day I would have the dream, and then what would happen was that I would masturbate in real life. So in the dream, I would have a sexual dream or something like that, and then I would masturbate in real life. And I would be like, dang, it's been 7-8 months, I haven't done this junk, why is it happening again? The enemy could no longer control my life in the flesh because I had cleaned out my music, I wasn't watching crazy junk. So we had to find another way to get me off track, right? And what the enemy will do is enter your dreams. And if you leave them untouched, if you ignore them, then they'll manifest themselves, because that's just what happens in the spiritual realm. Things start spiritually and then they manifest. Until I realized, I'm like, wait a dang minute. What'll happen when I start being proactive instead of reactive? I think I've had some sexual dreams where I was asleep, but I was still able to understand what I was dreaming about, if that makes sense. I began praying in that moment. I started quoting scriptures in the middle of me having that dream, and I would keep praying until the dream would go away. And I realized that it was so crazy because the enemy was literally trying to convince me to do something that would have led me into masturbating, but it was almost so convincing, y'all. It was literally, I was this close to getting up and doing that jump because it was so convincing. But what you have to realize is that I have to stay in prayer. I'm like, I gotta keep praying because this junk don't sound right. It sounds so off. It sounds so peculiar. It sounds like something I would never do. And then you realize yo behind was trying to trick me. Just start realizing or noticing when the enemy starts to attack you. I had a phase where I was masturbating every other day, every 3 weeks, every other month, and then it would become every 6 months, every 7 months. It would happen like that. So start realizing and recognize the pattern that which the enemy is attacking you, and know that around this time the enemy is going to start throwing different things my way to get me to masturbate, to get me to go back in this place. I'm not doing it, so I need to have a plan. I need to have a plan in place to combat this stuff and make sure that I'm in my word and make sure that I'm, keeping my ear gates and my eye gates clean so that he's not able to result in the first original way to get me back. You know what I'm saying? I think the word in Ephesians says not to allow that, don't allow the enemy to not have to work hard. Make him work hard for what he's trying to get. You know what I mean? So if you wake up and you realize, dang, I had a sexual dream, pray, ask other people to pray for you, start fasting, breaking away from social media if you're on social media, things like that. TikTok and Facebook. Facebook is like porn, y'all. But what I had to start doing is as soon as I even saw something that looked a little sketchy, I swipe so fast. I don't allow it to play in my mind. I don't allow it to make me horny. Is say if I saw a couple kissing or something like that, like not even just like a touch, but like making out and stuff like that. Stuff like that will turn me on. Now I'm thinking about having sex. Now I'm thinking about making out with somebody. I'm thinking about all these things because I let it sit. Give yourself grace, but not too much grace to where you do whatever you want to do and you just use it as an excuse to sin. Invite God in and allow him to strip masturbation out. Eventually you'll get to a point where you're strong enough spiritually to rebuke the devil. A lot of times we struggle with things that our parents struggle with, and they struggle with things that their parents struggle with, and it's just a pattern. But you have to get to a point where it's important enough to where you want to break the cycle, you want to break that generational curse. Remember that when you put yourself in positions to be exposed to spirits and demonic things, aka boyfriends and girlfriends, and having sex and stuff, don't be surprised when you start struggling with some junk you never struggled with before. The word says that you will always have a way out from temptation. It's just you gotta take it. So when you get them dreams and junk, don't just sit there. Begin to pray. Like wake up praying. Get up, put some music on, go ham. Don't allow that stuff to manifest. You break it in the name of Jesus, and you get to stepping. Like you don't just let the enemy do what he want to do and not do nothing about it. Who am I to allow the enemy to just play with me? That's dope. And what you do, you fight every time. If you gotta fight 5 times a night, you fight every time. Because the enemy's not gonna give up. Why are you? I'm done.